Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Quantum Lounge, a group of like-minded and like-hearted people talking about everything quantum, spiritual, and life itself. So tonight's topic is living the spiritual life. But what is spirit? Maybe you could call it source. You can call it whatever you want, but it's being connected to who you are. And when you are connected to who you are, things shift in your life. With all souls having a human incarnation, but when you start to really get it and live that life, you can do all the things that people talk about, like manifestation, law of attraction, because these are our God-given divine rights as a human being, as a soul living on the planet today. So today we're going to talk about how do you live a spiritual life. So we're going to go round and people can talk about that. And if you ever want to join us on the Quantum Lounge, drop me a line. So I live the spiritual life, I would say. I'll start, since I'm already talking. I start with a meditation every morning to set myself up for the day. Conscious breathing. I do Wim Hof breathing. And I find it extremely effective. I'm a singer, so over the years, I started about 4 years ago. It gives me that breath, and but it doesn't only do that. It makes the body alkaline for 24 hours, and it's quite unique. You should look up breath retention and what it does. Wim Hof. So I start my day with that. I usually finish my day with a Joe Dispenza meditation as well, or some type of meditation. And throughout the day, I like to smile and give thanks for everything in my life. So that's a simple thing that we can all do. But we'll go around and see how we all live our spiritual or source energy life.
I can go next. Like you, Carl, I do the Wim Hof as well, and I do my meditations regularly. Some of my meditations still have the thoughts, but I'm just working on just sitting in silence, and when the thoughts come, it's okay. I just let it slide, and for me, that takes me into a zone of out of the busyness of life. And sometimes my meditations are just reflection. And I find just reflecting and being grateful about things that I have, like the roof, or just being able to breathe, being able to walk, um, that somehow connects me to my, what I want to call it, source or God or creator. So meditation helps me really stay. I don't know if you want to use the word spiritual, but to me, spirit is like connecting with that inner spirit. And the meditation, walking in nature, helps me connect with that inner spirit. And I find just the knowing that that spirit is within me, and I am connected to God, to source energy at all times, like whether I'm watching TV or whether I'm sleeping or whether I'm in conflict, I'm still always connected to God. And in times of challenges and troubles, I just have that inner knowing that there is this divine energy that has my back. And I'm always supported, like whether it's friends, family, people are always there to support me. Even if it's a fight or an argument, I think that is a way of me reflecting on evolving. Say if I'm upset and if there's an argument for any reason, just knowing that I am a spiritual being and I'm guided by spirit helps me reflect. It just wasn't about somebody. It's about this greater life. I don't know if it makes any sense. But I would say like that's how I live a life or of spirituality, or I'm connected to spirituality that way. So in other words, everything that happens in life has a meaning and a purpose. It just didn't happen. Like everything, whether it's having a child or a friend or a job, everything has a purpose, and it all comes to love and being part of this divine God energy.
Thanks, Sonny.
You're welcome.
I'll go next, and thanks, Jane. It's all wonderful things too, and I think that it's not something we're taught. I don't know, for the majority of you guys, we were all kind of raised in from religious backgrounds, and to me, a truly religious life is one of freedom and individuality, and the ability to go out and see what being spiritual means to you. And a lot of times we get led down, you know, even in the spiritual community, I think there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation. And at the core essence of it, I know that Alan talks a lot about it. It's just radical presence and being where you are. I know that when I was young, I used to, you know, coming from I'll say a separated family, not a broken family, but you know, a separated family. I always often found myself wishing my parents were still together. I wish I was at my mom's house sometimes on, and I wish I was at my dad's house. And so you know, I spent a lot of time when I was younger. Oh, I wish I had a family that was still together. I wish this and wish that. And so I fantasized about, you know, something else. And then you know, we get sucked into society, and it doesn't really teach us that. It's all mind energy, and you got to be somebody. It's so caught up with identity and doing and achievement and competition and all that stuff. And you get to a point in your life, you know, for me, it started happening really in my 30s. I think we all feel it when we're young, but as you grow up, society's not geared toward it, as at least in the Western world. So you get sucked into that game. And then you start realizing, no, there's got to be a better way. And so you start slowing down and you start making different choices, and you start, you know, making healthier choices, and you're more aware of how people make you feel and things like that. And so it takes a lot of practice to live in the present moment. But I think that that's what true spirituality is, not worrying too much about the future, just being here now, and doing what we love, and doing that as much as we possibly can, and doing things we prefer. And like Jane said, you know, the universe will support you. And sometimes I think that if it doesn't always happen right away, so sometimes we can get discouraged and things like that. And you got to keep going, because it's not instant, right? Sometimes, you know, it's like the universe saying, hey, do you really want this? So you know, like even myself, there's things that I've worked towards for 6 years before that I eventually found what I was exactly looking for. And so sometimes it takes time. You have to move locations. You have to change the people you're hanging around with. So whatever you have to do to live in the present moment, that's kind of the goal, and to be there. And you know, it's a lot. I think for some of us it's easier said than done, but for me, like, you know, things that Jane was saying, going in the forest and nature, as Carl mentioned, breathing is very important to me, doing that daily, and also being creative, you know, because I think we were created to be creative. So living a creative life, for me, monotony wears thin. So even doing simple things, like I was talking to Jane about it yesterday, is creative scheduling. So taking the things that I want to do with my day, whether it's exercise, a walk, some morning breathing, some reading, writing, yoga, or whatever it is. I do, you know, I have the same list of things, but I do them differently each day. So that way, you know, I might wake up tomorrow and do Wim Hof breathing, and then the next day I'll go for a walk first and do Wim Hof breathing down by the water. And so I make it so it's not the same day in and out, kind of like Groundhog Day, because to me that's uninspiring. So I try to make sure that I'm constantly doing little new things, even if it's just, you know, going for a walk down a different road or a different path. It doesn't have to be skydiving every time or doing something crazy. It's just little things like the other day, instead of listening to my usual music, I went rooting through all the old CDs, and I picked out random CDs that I'd never listened to, and I listened to flute music, you know, the one that I'd never done. So something simple like that, just changing up your schedule and doing something new, because that's what spirit likes, is to do new things. I think when we get stuck in our mind doing the same old and these mind loop patterns, that's not really, you're not really present, because you're not enjoying what you're doing. So for me, it's just about learning to be present and doing and doing things that we enjoy and things that we prefer, and like being grateful and truly embodying that. So I do my best, and it's it's an uphill battle some days, but I've definitely the past few years it's been a lot easier, and especially talking with other people and like-minded people in an open, judgment-free environment to really share how you've worked through things, and so that they can share how they work through things in an honest environment too. So that way we can really relate to each other. Because I think in our society, at least, it's always putting on airs to make people seem like they, where I'm from, it's like you didn't want people to know that you were going through a tough time, because so it's nice to share those things with each other so that we can say, oh, okay, well, yeah, this person really went through a tough time too, so I'm not alone in that, and they turned out okay, and they're getting through it. So sharing our experiences is a really important part of that growth for me, I think.
Thanks, Rob. Miss Sarah?
Well, Rob, I have a question for you. When you're saying spirit likes new things, not to do the same old, same old. I kind of I wasn't sure how to take that, because I've been studying A Course in Miracles for at least 20 years, if not more. And I practice mindful meditation, which is very different than meditation. It's really living in the moment. And like I have this weird mushroom tea that I drink that helps me at night. So that's like a same old, same old, same old, but it's a positive same old, same old. So I kind of got a little bit trying to understand what you meant when you said,
Well, it's definitely okay to have routines and things like that. I still have my routines, but I try to change, like I always say, routinely change your routine. I just try to change it up, because I find myself, I might, have my morning coffee sitting, I used to sit in this one chair, and after about like a month or three, I'm just like, oh, I need to change it up. So I moved the chair in the kitchen and adjusted it out the window. And now I have my morning coffee out that window. Just little things, right? Because I find that I just see, like, otherwise I just feel so much like a robot, like these robotic programs and doing the same thing day in and day out. So I just like changing it up. And I think it's also like flipping the script too, or glitching the matrix, where we do something new, because we get into these habitual patterns. At least for me, I lived a very habitual, smoking, drinking, going to work, doing the same old thing. And it's like, that's not what I came here to do. So I think it's just, for me, it's just to change things up. And it's not to say, you can't do your same, the things that you love to do every day, but it's just doing them in a new way, or just changing up your schedule. Like I said, even if it's just going on a different path on your walk.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So the one other thing that I have been doing, with the weather being nice, I've been doing a lot of grounding work outdoors, bare feet on the grass. And I've actually started using my grounding mat that I've had. And I find that it's helping me, somehow it's helping me accept myself for who I am. I've always been one to talk to trees, even as a child. And I'm learning now to just, like, you talk about who somebody's watching over us. I'm starting to believe that I am spirit. I am that I am. I am spirit. I'm the one watching over me. Jane could come into my life to help me and support me, but I'm the one who got Jane to come into my life. And I don't mean it in an egotistical way, but I am spirit. I am the universe. And everything that's happening to me, I have a choice at that moment to say, why me? Or say, thank you. And thank you for getting me through it and learning the lesson. And the other thing this week that's come really clear to me as I'm studying and growing in my spirituality, I'm questioning. I have a thing and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, when I'm at the drugstore or the grocery store, wherever, I always end up saying, thank you so much and have a wonderful day. And I really mean it. And I decided to change that thank you. I'm so grateful for your help today. The word grateful or gratitude seems to be a little bit more, to me right now, more genuine than thank you, because we say thank you because we're Canadians. We're always say thank you, right? It doesn't matter what our cultural background is, but I'm learning, I'm getting the sense right now that I'm supposed to say the word, I'm so grateful for Carl setting up the Zoom tonight, instead of saying, oh, thank you for including me. I'm so grateful to be part of this team tonight. And I'm finding this word gratitude or grateful is very, I'm very passionate about it this week.
That's lovely, Sarah. Yeah, I am that I am. And self-awareness again, or the mind, self-awareness to be the observer, which is consciousness basically of the little me. We say the little me is the my job and my past and who I was and my name and what I do, all them type of things. That's the little you. But of course, we're all spirits, and realizing that it makes a huge difference in your life, and it changes everything when you start to live more from the observer, and you catch yourself in so many different situations too. If you start to judge, or that's not spirit, that's not consciousness, that's the ego mind. So it's all about being aware that you are a spirit. Living a spiritual life is becoming aware, first of all, that you are. And it usually starts with the awareness of that crazy voice in your head that most people have. And it takes habit sometimes to catch yourself. And I think that's good today, guys. Anyone else want to say any more, or is that good?
Sure.
Alan didn't go yet.
No, I didn't
We-
want him to go. I thought he was going to not say nothing, but yeah, go on, Alan.
Sarah, I'm grateful for everything that people offered. What I have to say is, we usually think of ourselves as part of the human race. Where are we racing to? The graveyard.
Wow.
Yeah. So most people do it without question. You enter kindergarten, grade 1, come out wherever, grade 8, grade 10, university, doctorate, whatever. And then you start striving for more and striving for more and striving for more unconsciously, because everybody else is doing it. It's a race. It's the Boston Marathon. I dropped out. I realized that was crazy. So it's non-attachment to the usual pattern of living, and just realizing and becoming aware, as has been said, and grateful that you're alive. Hey, wait a minute. I'm alive. Life is beautiful. Life is a continuous, momentary thing. It's eternal. Wow. You talk to the trees, Sarah, the trees are alive. The planet is alive. The sun is alive. Everything is alive. It's like Jonathan Livingston Seagull. All the rest of the birds were going after food day after day after day, which is what we do, only maybe a car or a house as well. But suddenly, Jonathan Livingston Seagull realized, hey, I can fly. It's wonderful to fly. Well, it's wonderful to live and be aware of that, to change from external to internal. What is my internal state right now? As Jane says, not to get mad, not to react. I am responsible for my internal state. That's all. That's the only thing I have control over. And I'm conscious of that. I'm conscious of other people. I appreciate other people and all that they bring, but I feel like shaking them sometimes and say, wake up, wake up. You don't have to keep running. It's a beautiful world right here. And things will change, things will unfold. Appreciate each day, each moment, and appreciate yourself, your essence. What is your essence? The soul, the spirit that's inside you. So living a spiritual life is joyful. It's peaceful. It's not reacting. It's not getting mad at every little thing. It's not this opinion, that opinion, and arguing about it. What good does that do? Those are just thoughts. Everybody has an opinion. But life lives us and can lead us in every moment. The same life force that is in the trees, the flowers, everywhere, that's inside of us. So it's waking up to a spiritual life, a wonderful life, as the movie was saying. So back to you, Carl, and thank you for the opportunity to say a few things.
Welcome, Alan. That reminds me of a quote, and don't ask me who wrote it, but the quote was, the average person dies at the age of 30 and are buried at 70.
Mm.
People lose their dreams from a very early age. And I think that's the difference between true spirituality as well. There's no rules and regulations because you know intuitively the right thing in your heart, your spirit. You know, you don't need rules and regulations, you know. And if you live your life like that, you're living a life of your God self. And I always thought from the time I awakened, what would God do now if she was living through me? How would she react to these situations? You know, I say she because God's not a man or a woman. God is greater than any of us could fathom. We're just touching it with our feelings of knowing we're connected to something that's magnificent. And when you live a life like that, you know you are capable of anything because you are magnificent.
I just wanted to add to what Alan said too is about stop running in the race, and I actually did that 2 weeks into the pandemic, and I was like, "What am I doing?" It was like I just stopped one day, and I didn't hear a voice, but I just said to myself, "I'm like, what am I running to or from? Like where? Like why do why am I trying to beat my personal best? It's all mind energy." And from that day, I just started walking and enjoying my daily walks and. I haven't run since, except for one day when there was an emergency. So that's the only time I run is if there's like a real need for it, if there's a family emergency or something like that. So
And it's funny.
take it slow.
It's funny how we somehow at one point in our lives it clicks, because when I first went through my divorce, I somehow ended up at the running room, and they said, "Oh, we have walking clubs and running clubs, and you can start off here, 5K." This, I said, "No, I want to train for the 21K." And I've always walked in nature. I've always been connected with nature and animals. And I'm going to do 21 because I'm going to prove myself that I'm going to get through this. And I trained and I made the most lifelong, wonderful friends. And the first half marathon that I did in about 2 hours and 40 minutes. That was the Toronto. I've gone as far as around the Bay, 30 kilometers. And somewhere along the line, I just got, look at me. This time, look, I'm walking faster than the runners. And I just started competing. And I remember, and then I got a little bit of an injury in my shins, and I had to kind of step it back. I still walked 3 times a week, walked and hiked. And then something happened, something clicked in my head, said, "You know why you're injured? Because you're not enjoying this anymore." The whole idea was to walk in nature with friends. Sure, we're exercising, we're training for a race, but I got so caught up in getting that medal and the next one doing faster and the next one doing faster that I forgot why I love walking outdoors, because I could easily go to the gym. And I remember thinking, I love walking, whether we walk slow or fast, but it was the connection with your mates, your walking mates. And I would always say, "Oh, look at that frog," or "Look at that blue jay." And they're like, "Where are you seeing these things?" And I remember thinking, I forgot why I love walking outdoors. And I kind of tapered back. And I didn't become one of the fastest walkers anymore. And I was fine with it because I could walk in the back, but I could smell, I could hear, and I enjoyed it. And it's funny, but it took me like a few years of look at me, I'm getting better and stronger. I'm faster. I'm at the front. And then something clicked and said, and I really believe that the universe said, you know what? That's not who you are. I'm going to injure your shins as a stepping back for you to take a deep breath and reassess who you really truly are and what it is that you're supposed to enjoy. So I think that's really neat how something it's a gift that something finally clicks in our head. You know, like people who smoke cigarettes, let's say, something clicks in their head once saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then they fight it, they do it, they don't do it. But I just find it's amazing that if we're open to it, the courage is there. We can do it, but we have to kind of be open to hear it because it's there. It's knocking on your door. It's knocking on your heart. It's there, but we're so busy trying to be first and better time that we don't take the time to listen.
Beautiful, Sarah. And just a sec, I want to say the word forget. People forgot why they're living. Carl?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Alan. Yeah. But having said that, Sarah, too, there is still, if there's any athletes watching this, I myself, I still train 3 or 4 times a week, as fast and as strong as I can in my martial arts. And I've been doing it for a long, long time. But it's still, you can do that as long as you don't think it's the ego running that. It's something you can do to experience. As a human being, um, we've been offered like this beautiful body, this beautiful mind, and we've got eyes to see, we've got ears to hear beautiful music, we've got taste buds to enjoy all the beautiful food, and we've got bodies that we can use as well. But as long as it's done in the right way, and then you can step back and bring presence in your life, and it's all good, and we all choose different things to do. But the number one thing is do what you love and do more of what you love more and more every day in every way, because life is a gift and you got to use our most precious moment. Not our most precious moment. Most biggest gift we have is time. It's our greatest gift. It's not money. It's time. And if you had a death sentence and you was going to be dying next week, you'd give every single penny another day on this beautiful planet with all these beautiful human beings. Everyone good, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us. And if you'd like to join us, as I say, drop me a line on my website. And don't forget to subscribe and share. Take care, my friends, and you be the change you want to see in the world. And now, because my eyes are not, my eyes are fabulous, but I still need the glasses. Stop this.